All right, all right. I only get 30 minutes to do this one, so I ain't gonna waste no time. We'll jump right on in there. I said that and I waited a moment. Righty. All right. Um, yeah, man. It's nothing happening. That's my show. Good night. It's nothing going on right now, man. Um, there's nothing that there's nothing different. It's nothing that separates this from Sunday show right now. I feel um, like you have your small here or there's, but um, nothing is moving, man. Congress not doing nothing. You know, they're busy taking knees, wearing kente cloths. You know what I'm saying? They're busy. I don't get it. I'm sorry, but I don't. I don't understand why. Actually, I'm interested in you guys. What do you guys think? Whether you're a Democrat or not, or whatever it is that you identify yourself as, um, what do you, or whatever it is that you identify yourself as? How do you like? What do you? How do you feel about the um, uh, Congress, the Democrats in Congress, not all of them, uh, taking a knee? Like this hat? Like this, Erica? Me too. I thought it was pretty damn dope. Uh, Made my feelings, known. I just wish that it was. I should have got it in red and white, and then make people do the double take. But yeah, like, what do y'all think about Congress taking the knee? Democrats taking the knee in Congress. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do y'all feel about it? Because personally, like, it couldn't look more ridiculous. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, you're not doing nothing with that. I get it. You want to show your support, and Mitt Romney was out there marching with, yelling Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. But like, you taking the knee when you actually got the power to make changes does nothing for me. It don't. It just does absolutely nothing. Um, like, you want to do something for me? Like, go in there. Like, stop. Like, get up off the floor. Go inside of the chambers and make some laws. Like, put up some police reforms. Pass some laws. Give some bills. Give some stimulus help to the people. Like, do something besides taking a knee for 9 minutes or 8 minutes and however long George Floyd was down there on the ground. And I get it. I get the symbolism of it. But when you actually got power, you don't need to be symbolic. Like, just go make the action happen. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Erica said I didn't pay attention to it, and they have work to do. They absolutely have work to do. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Like, you actually have the power to do something, and you chose to take a knee for 9 minutes. And I'm not saying, like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to overblow it saying like 9 minutes is the longest possible time or anything like that. Because that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm trying to say. Uh, but you don't have to be symbolic when you actually have the power to make change. Like, go do the change and stuff that you're taking the knee for. It's pointless to me. I just don't understand it. Um, and the cloths, like the kente cloths, that did nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? Like who signed off on this? Like, was this Nancy Pelosi herself? Like, that's to be a good idea. This is something we should do. And nobody black in Congress said, no, that's a bad idea. Like no one said that. Like no, everybody was like, no, that's good. Give me one too. For those who don't know, it's like the kente law is like the African, Western African garb. It signified a lot of stuff, but the fact that everybody was wearing it in Congress taking knee, it just I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way because I feel like they're just wasting time. They're trying to be symbolic for what reason? Y'all all old. Like get off the ground and go pass some laws. It's frustrating, man. Like, answer me this, y'all. Let me know. Yeah, it was around their neck, like their shoulders or whatever, taking knees. Like, I don't fucking understand it. Answer me this. Like, do you think that Democrats are? I don't want to say too nice. I don't want to say they are. Yeah, like. Do you feel like they're too nice? Like they're too. They're playing by the rules too much, I guess, or they're playing fair warfare. I say that too much, where Republicans clearly they're playing a whole different game. Like, do y'all feel that way, or am I alone in that? Well, let me know, because if I'm being too tough on them, you know, what I'm saying if we all should be Michelle Obama, and you know when they say she said when they go low, we go high or whatever. Like if that's what we all supposed to do, fine. But let me know, because right now I feel like they been too they're playing by the rules too much, and I get it. You can't go all the way the other way. You can't be um what's his name Beto O'Rourke or whatever, the dude from Texas that be out here, like he was like his whole thing was like cussing or whatever, and you know he was I'm the cool candidate for the kids because I skateboard. Yeah, but you like 50 though. I don't. That's another story. But anyway, like I get it. You can't go the other way and just be cussing all the time. You can't do the Donald Trump. Like you have to be upstanding for sure. And to Joe Biden's credit, the message that he said at George Floyd's funeral, like to his daughter and stuff, was great. That's what you typically like. That's what you hear from presidents. Even George Bush, when he stood on the rubble, talking about, you know, we hear you, and you know, the whole world's going to hear you for 9/11, and Barack Obama, all this school shooting speeches, and like that's what a president sounds like. Like so definite credit to Joe Biden for that, but like I don't know. I just think they're doing too much by the rule. Not I want to say by the rules, but it's just too clean. Like when everybody else is like they're not playing fair at all, man. It's annoying. Erica said they're trying to be politically correct. I agree, but no one else is. So like, why are you? Like I get it having a certain level of class and standard, but like at what point do you be like, all right, well, this is not working? Erica said, there's no politically correctness when lives are at stake. I know this election year, but that was, I know this is election year, but that was too much. Yes, that's that's a perfect summary, Erica. Is I get it. Jobs are going to be up in a couple months, like you know, or up for you know, like the election coming in a couple months, so jobs are going to be up for grabs. I get that completely. But like people, yes, like people are dying out here. People are dying. I don't understand it, man. And just said maybe they are afraid to upset everyone, so they're doing nothing. But that's also stupid. Like that's the thing that we talk about the most on this show is like what can we do and how can we do it, and you know, like what would get results and all of this stuff. Like, and granted, like we all throw out ideas and we all say, you know, saying stuff that we believe is the answer. We say stuff that we want to see or whatever. But we don't have the absolute answer. Like I don't think no one can say 100% this is what we should do and this is what it'll be. Like, but you got to do something though. For you to do nothing is just it's incredible. It's incredibly ridiculous to me. Like you gotta do something. Uncle Mike, what's up, man? Mike Bell Sr. in the house. Erica said, certain things grabbed my attention and that didn't. I wonder why, Erica. Like, why didn't I grab your attention? I'm curious. Like, I'm curious at, I wonder, like, because it wasn't like the biggest thing to me. It's just like it stood out because like, what are you doing? Like, you actually can be doing something, but you're not, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could really be doing something, but you're not doing something. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like it was like, all right, so we want to show people that we're with them, you know, Black Lives and all this stuff. But instead of putting out an official statement, like we all got press people, instead of putting out an actual statement, we just like, oh, we're gonna take a knee. We're gonna go some African garb and we're gonna take a knee in Congress. Like, yeah, it seemed so far like they were so into it that it seemed disingenuous. Even if they had the best intentions ever, it just seemed like it wasn't genuine. Like to wear that and to take a knee like that. I just don't understand. And I agree, Erica. Erica said it seemed fake, and I agree with you. Erica said we have to start changing some laws. I agree. Uncle Mike, we talking about well, it's politics. So whatever politics you want to talk about, just throw it out there, or whatever's going on for sure. And but we were talking about right now. We're talking about the Democrats in Congress taking the knee, wearing the kente cloth, taking a knee, looking ridiculous. Instead of getting in there into the chamber and actually doing something to actually enforce some change some laws, change some policies. That's what we're talking about right now. Erica said, "Yeah, we got to start changing some laws." I agree. We need to. We need to, and that starts with the people that we elect, like that are supposed to legitimately, you know, be looking out for our best interest. Like they work for us, they work for the people. So for that not to be what's happening, or we feel like that's not happening, then we need to make changes on who we vote for, who's going to be our representatives. Like they're literally called the House, just the House of Representatives, because they're supposed to represent us. And if you feel like they're not, then we all should be making some kind of changes. Like I said, a lot of those pics were photo op. In the marches were photo ops. Like in the protests, Donald Trump did one in the middle of a protest at the church. The Mitt Romney thing seemed like a protest. The mayor of Minnesota seemed like he was like doing it just for like to say I'm out here with the people. You know, it's like I feel like it, and it could be all genuine, and these cops and soldiers and everybody taking these. It could be super sincere, right? But like I just need more. Like you got to show me more than taking a knee, or like I said, you get some of these cops that they play basketball in like a black neighborhood at a black playground. Like, oh, we need more cops like this. Like, do we though? Like do we really? Like the only thing you know about this cop is that he can shoot a basketball. Like, but like what is his record like? What is his complaint history? Like what kind of cop actually is he? Like I just don't understand. Like people just so quick to jump on it, like, oh, you know, so and so. I think I used this analogy last week. Like, so and so invited to the barbecue because they took a knee. Like that's the minimum. Like you should be holding these people to a higher standard. People that can actually make change should be held to a higher standard. Uncle Mike said he said black solidarity. That is the only thing. That is the only thing. What politicians do we trust? You got me, because I can't say that I trust any of them. I can have hope for some. I can have hope for, you know, Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders or people like whoever your person is in politics. Even on a local level, even on a smaller level, if you live in Cleveland and Frank Jackson is your guy, you know what I'm saying, or whatever city. I just moved to the city. I have no idea who the mayor is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really have no idea. Like, but do I trust him or her? Like, probably not. And I don't even know him. I don't, they might have a pristine record, but I don't trust them because I don't trust the system as a whole. Yet I still try to have some kind of hope and tell people to get out there and vote and do the stuff that you can do to make a difference. But I still don't know. I can't trust none of these people. You're right. You're right. Like you're right, 100%. Erica said, with this Bible, the church for sure. Maya said, "Oh, that Bible, yeah." Uh, I just love. She said he looked so uncomfortable. He did. I love the part I loved about that was two things. One, they asked him, like, is that your Bible? He's like, it's a Bible. Like, so where'd you find this Bible? Like, where does this random Bible come from? Like, you just walked from the White House. Like, whose Bible is this that you posing with? And then when he was on the campaign trail, and he was talking about how he's the biggest Christian or the biggest Bible reader that you ever met, and this and that. But then it's like, all right, well, what's your favorite verse? He's like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't want to. What's your favorite book? I don't really want. That's personal, and I don't really want to share. Like, man, that dude ain't never read no Bible a day in his life, not one time. I I'll put my money on that, not one time. You see, Uncle Mike said, we can talk revolution, rioting, and pray all day. When you don't need their money, you become a power far as representation. I agree. We talk about that all the time. Like we've talked about far fetched stuff, as in we talked about buying like parts of East Cleveland or houses in East Cleveland, as far as like just because it's cheap and it's something that you can kind of invest in with not a bunch of money. Like we've talked about being self-sustaining, but how do you actually do that? How do you do that with a group of people who you can barely get to organize to do anything, like positive or negative? Like you can barely get people to be together on anything. So how do you make it happen? I'm with you. I agree that's like the Black Wall Street is how it happens, but like how? Because in order to get those buildings and stuff, you're gonna have to get a loan from a white bank, you know what I'm saying, or a white lender, you know what I'm saying, like to even buy the buildings and to get the equipment or whatever. You're gonna have to buy stuff from white people, or you're gonna owe a note to the white. You rent a building, you're gonna owe it to a white landlord or something. And so how do you get to that point? Uncle Mike said, as far as representation, we don't have an agenda strong enough to hold anyone accountable to. I agree. You said Black economic uprise, re-education. Lay it on me then. I agree. There are more than enough rich Black people, right? Uh, to be able to redistribute the wealth that they have, or to make it. Tyler Perry bought a black town or a plantation and turned it into a movie studio, right? He could have took that same money and turned it into a Black Wall Street type situation where he could have been the lender, like, hey, you can come, rent free or whatever for 6 months or for a year or whatever, or I'll loan you the money to get started or whatever. Like, but he didn't do that. Oprah ain't did that shit. Y'all know for a fact how much I hate Steve Harvey because how much he leaned on Cleveland, but he don't do anything for the city. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree with you. If that's your answer, that there's enough rich Black people, I'm agreeing with you 110 million%. Like, because there are enough people, but you try to convince them to get their money away or to you know what I'm saying, to help others. And it ain't like they don't know. Because when Tyler Perry opened that black studio, like the first thing he talked about is, it made me proud. I could buy a plantation that so many Black people died on and worked to make it this and to make it that. But you easily could have employed, and maybe you do employ a ton of Black people down there at the studio, But like, no, he's the only one that's making money off of that. Like he's getting, Eddie Murphy is a black director, and like so they go there and shoot movies and stuff. So that's good for Tyler Perry, but he's not putting other like less fortunate blacks in a position to become empowered. He's just not doing that right now. He said black economic uprise, re-education. He said black solidarity is my battle cry for sure. He said that's why I say re-education. I agree with you 100%. It's you know what I think, especially for the rich. I agree that re-education for everybody, but especially the rich. Mine said your Uncle Tony lives on Steve Harvey Way. I'm gonna have to stop messing with him. I'm gonna have to cut him off, man. I hate to do it, but he's still on Steve Harvey Way. I'm gonna have to cut him off. That's another story. I'll talk to you after the show, NGP. Uncle Mike said Jay-Z said he would not give money to his old projects because of their mindset. That makes sense. Why give your money to somebody that's just gonna throw it away? So I agree. I feel like that's a genius thing to say and do. Like, there's no reason for your why would you just throw money away? Like, why would you give money to people that's not educated? Like, why would you give people money to people who, their first book was read, their very first book was read in jail or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do it? So I agree with that. I agree with that mind state for sure. Uncle Mike said, did anybody go to Jay-Z and say we have a re-education plan? No. I'm pretty sure they didn't. And for that matter, I'm pretty sure they haven't said it to a bunch of people. So one thing that me and you always talk about, Uncle Mike, is like black leaders. Like, we always talk about who's gonna be the person that leads us, that organizes us to know to go or to say, let's get re-educated, and then we got Jay-Z on board, or to go to Jay-Z and say, hey, help me get these people to be re-educated, or the LeBron James or whatever, like whoever your guy is. Like, we always thought that's something we've been talking about that for years, is having like a leader, like who is going to be the leader, and how are they going to get us organized? And you're right, we don't have one, and that's why we'll forever be divided as black people. Oh, well, he might have to get cut off too, Auntie Fee. Steve Harvey, I don't even know what that is. I'm sure it's somewhere in Cleveland, but Steve Harvey Way, I'm not supporting it. That's all I'm saying. Mine also said, she said, I can see that he feels like that would waste his money. And I agree. I agree with you that I think until we get that person, we'll forever be divided because we can never agree. And then, as you know this, once we do have a leader that's ready to take charge or to lead, like, they'll kill that nigga, man. Like, the government kill that person. You start doing too much, too good, too fast, start organizing, like, they'll kill that man. Then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so are you willing to be the martyr? Are you willing to be the person that gets sacrificed to organize and lead the people? I don't know. Uncle Mike said, we would have to have a plan before you go to them, or there is nothing to discuss. I agree with that. For sure. Having a plan, I agree with that 100%. Mine said, I'm sure they have. Some people just want something without doing the work. Yeah, and that's not how it works, though. That's not how any of this works. Like, you know, man, even something small like us, it's a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of work. So I can only imagine on like a higher level, on a higher scale, how much actual stuff you got to do. You crazy if you think you can get something for nothing. It's and it didn't have aspiration to be Jay-Z level, Oprah, like these rich black people level. You gotta be out your mind. Don said, "Would you like to order a fuck the police shirt from Politically Raw, $2 when you follow the page?" Man, don't come over here advertising. No, just playing. Don my guy though. Check out his podcast. He do YouTube shows and everything else, and he got a full clothing line at Politically Raw. Erica said, "In the hood, everyone in the hood does not have the same mindset." You're right, Erica. They don't. So how do you get them, Erica? Man, we talk so much on this show about just getting people to do the minimum, like whether it's voting or whatever. We can't. How? Like, how do you even get people on the same? Like, if white people or whoever the influencers are able to get on the same mindset to do something positive for their community, like why can't black people? Like just why can't they? I get it. White people had a couple 400-year head start or whatever. I understand that it's gonna be different and different hurdles and stuff, but like we can't get organized for shit. Like not at all. Not even we can't. We just can't get organized at all. It's frustrating. Uncle Mike said being divided was part of the American socialization plan for blacks. Of course it is. From the beginning, from slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we're gonna take your wife and we're gonna sell your wife and your kid, and you gotta stay here. Uh, you know, uh, you have kids, and then we're gonna sell the kids immediately. Like separation and not having an identity is something that's been around since the very beginning. You absolutely right about that. And no doubt. Ebony J said, I would. I don't know what you're talking about. So elaborate for me because I was a little bit behind. Andrew said, America as a whole is so divided. Democrats, Republicans, black, whites, and black, blacks. Yeah, it is. But I think the majority of whites, and this is just my opinion, like I feel like you got different types of whites, you got different types of blacks. And for whatever reason, because there are so many white people, that certain group of influential white people that's into politics or whatever, because they they have more. Fuck, I can't think of that word. They the population is higher of like educated white people than it is like the dumb white Southern person or the hillbilly or whatever. That the white pool is much stronger than like having black people with the same separated mentality. Like in order for us to get anything together because of the population size, we all need to get together and get on the same page. I agree with you, Andrew. You're right. But white people can remain dominant with that because of the sheer numbers. Dom said, if you get 100 people to start a party and grow their children to be in the seats of Congress, that should be able to bring change. Dom, I've said it a thousand times. I agree with that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I agree with that. I said that real change wouldn't even begin to happen for the next 5 to 10 years when people our age start getting into the lawmaking positions where we can actually inflict change, where we can actually run for president, where we can actually do some of the stuff that will actually progress the country instead of having, old ass, 80-year-old Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, all these just old ass people, man, that instead of having like a generation that's more inclusive, a bunch of white people on the west side, and I'm sure some of you like was able to like willing to lay down in the ground for X amount of time, like because they are more familiar than their grandfathers, the people in their 60s, that just refuse to change. My aunt said, sorry to say it's more spiritual to change people's mind. What do you mean by that, Auntie Fee? Like, what do you mean more spiritual? Like, do you mean like spirituality is keeping people from changing their mind or is needed to change people's mind? What's your opinion on that? Erica said, it's time for white Americans to realize the injustice towards black Americans. Yeah, I want to say they realize it. I want to say they've been, it's on like camera and film. Like the George Floyd thing wasn't the first thing that was on camera. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, this is starting to motivate people more. The younger whites, as I say, the younger whites has been mobilized, and the longer they keep moving, their parents are forced to pay attention and to have some level of empathy for their own kids. That's the only way it seems like it's gonna work. Uncle Mike said no. Race is as dispersed as black. You cannot compare it to any other group to blacks because no one has been socially condemned like blacks. I agree with that. I agree with you 100%. I agree. Ebony J said we can't even get people to help with our video. I, I said look, right now. So we put out a post, and I said I'm gonna start. I said I'm gonna start. Sending people in personal messages and asking them to participate. We put out a thing a couple of days ago in regards to like sharing something for Juneteenth, like the Black Freedom Day, the Black Independence Day. And not everybody's celebrating, and that's fine. I get it. But like to have a positive message or negative message, like to have a message about your Black experience, or somebody else's Black experience or anything. We got two people to say that they were going to make content. And they both was white. It was two white women that said, "All right, I'm willing to make content." That's the craziest thing ever. Like we can't even get people on the same page to make a video or to record audio, like talking about your Black experience, like telling your story. Like we ain't asking you to do a book report on Malcolm X or Harriet Tubman. We want your book report on yourself. Like we want your experience, and we can't even get people to participate. We got two white women that agreed to participate. That's the most insane. Like it's so damn insane to me. Uncle Mike said, with Black solidarity, we must not have to ask for rights and justice. The money would command the legislation. I get it. I'm at the stage where I don't want to ask for nothing. Like, I want to start demanding stuff. That's where I am personally. I know it don't always work that way, but that's personally where my mentality is. Erica said it's because our education system as a whole. You're absolutely right. We've been held back ever since separate but equal when it wasn't no separate but equal. I agree with that 100%. My aunt said, in my opinion, white people won't change because that would mean giving up their advantages. I agree with that. That's exactly what it means. And to an extent, I understand it. If you are the top, I don't fucking know. If you're the top basketball player because you're 2 feet taller than everybody else, you're Wilt Chamberlain, right? And you're an entire foot and a half taller than everybody, and they're like, well, we're gonna have to give everybody, foot and a half shoes to even the playing field. You go like, well, damn, that's not fair. Like, I'm not using special shoes; these are my own legs or whatever. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to give up this advantage because I'm dominating right now. So why would I give up this advantage? I agree with you. I agree. Uncle Mike said, we've already had a black president. What did that do? Nothing. It did some good, but not for black people. For Jewish people, for Hispanic people, yeah. But for black people, not much personally. Not I mean personally, but not much for the black people as a whole. I agree. Uncle Mike said, this is a systemic curse for black people. We're going to have to command. We're going to have to command and not through rioting. I agree. Again, how do you do that though? Do you just vote and get your people in there and tell them that this is what you want? Do you peacefully protest where they ain't rioting and destroying stuff, but you constantly in the streets making it inconvenience? Do you hurt their pockets, which is what a lot of people say that they want to do on July 7th, I believe is the day. Would be like no black or brown economic spending. So they're gonna do it for one day? Like, I don't know. Like, how do you go about it though? if not through rioting and destroying stuff and making white insurance companies or whatever pay for the damages. Maya said, you are too vague. We are just recording. We are just recording, going to be on the podcast. Well, ask questions. That's all you gotta do is ask questions in the post. Well, it says that we're gonna make a compilation video where it could go on any of our three, almost four shows on the Epiphany Media umbrella. We can put it on our YouTube page. If it is just audio, then we'll probably play it on the podcast. I don't know what that got anything to do with it. Like, if you want to share the story, what is it? Like, if I said no, it's going to be played in the Plain Dealer or Cleveland.com, would that make a difference? Like, what would the? And I'm not being an a-hole. I just want to know, like, what would be the difference for you, depending, like, saying where it will be recorded? You could do it on your phone and send it to me. Like, I can come out and record it, or you can just leave a voicemail or like whatever it is, and I can take the audio. Erica said, those who oppress have to open their eyes. They have to see the racial disparities and acknowledge it. It goes back to what I said about the Malcolm X quote that I couldn't think of last week, and I'm sure I won't be able to think about it this week or think of it this week. In regards to like pulling out the knife, like you stab me in the back and then you pull out the knife and you call it progress. Like healing can't even start until you pull a knife all the way out. Like, but people denying that the knife is even there. So I agree, people must acknowledge it, but like they don't. I seen a post the other day, like, oh, nobody alive was a slave. Nobody alive now is a slave owner. We can't move forward, keep talking and looking at the past. But that doesn't make sense. Like, could you say, whatever you say about the Holocaust, or you say never forget 9/11 and all this stuff? Like that's not even a real statement to me. Uncle Mike said, Black people need a leader, unfortunately. I agree with you. And like I said, until we get one, I feel like we'll be divided forever. Auntie Fee said, I meant, do I send it to you? Will it be live? Probably send it to me. Send it to me, or Saturday when I see you, we can do it then. And I'll just make a compilation and try to do something. Try to do something different, man. Something good, something positive, and something that's just not a corporate. Even though we are a company, something that's not like a corporate sponsored. I'm gonna say this because it's good for the company, or I'm gonna find these people because it just so happen to align with my company values and all this stuff. It's just raw, whatever it is that you want to share about your personal Black experience. Erica said, Did you see that young white girl trying to convince her parents about police brutality? Yep, I did. I did. She was recording the video. For those of you that didn't see it, she had her phone close to her and she was like recording the audio and talking with her mom and dad in regards to police brutality. And they brought up the Black on Black crime and like the whole thing, man. They wasn't having it, man. Like as many facts that she brought up, as many things as she was saying about the numbers can be skewed depending on, just like I tell people all the time about documentaries, like like whoever you are working for, whoever funds your documentary, you're going to make that person who gave you the money look better than the person that you going against. That's just how it is. Like numbers can work the same way, like, but some things you can't dispute. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't dispute watching with your own eyes, like on a video that never changes, like the cop had his knee on that nigga neck, or the cop told dude don't reach for your gun, but reach for your licenses, and then shot him. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff you can't argue with because it never changes. It's a fact. Like that's what happened, and you can't change it. Like it's the same thing over and over. Uncle Mike said, "Those who oppress know that they oppress. We need to open their eyes. That is really the That is really the only eyes we can depend on and control. Black people were not taught warfare. Doesn't mean guns, mental strategies. I agree. I agree with that. We were introduced to guns, but like, yeah, having like the mental warfare, I don't think we were ever taught that. I think that's why mental illness and mental health issues run rampant in black neighborhoods now, is because that's a part of the game we wasn't taught. That's why it's uncomfortable for black people to go to therapists and social workers and stuff like that, because it wasn't taught. It's a taboo in our neighborhood to this day, which is ridiculous and incredible to me, that is a weird thing for people to go to, or you get made fun of for going to therapy, like trying to get your mental together. You go to it's crazy in 2020. Like that's a taboo thing for black people to go to therapy, talk to a therapist, something like anything like that. Andrew said, I didn't. If I can find a video, I would send it to you for sure. Dom said, they are trying to say George Floyd had corona. George Floyd had corona. When will this madness stop? Between him, or between that, I seen that as well. Between them saying that he was super high, between all the wild stuff Candace Owens be saying all the time, and I'm definitely not talking about her. Be sure to go check out the I Said What I Said podcast. Those guys did damn near a whole show on her. I'm not talking about her at all. But it's just crazy, man. It's always an excuse. It's always something else besides, like, he down there, he hung him on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, his neck was bent at an angle. He can't breathe. Like, he killed that dude on the ground. Like Mike said, the beginning of our rise when we free our slaves from the lies. That sounds like a quote. I don't know who said it, but I agree with that. I said slaves. Let me reread that. The beginning of our rise when we free ourselves from the lies. I agree. I agree. He go on to say strategy against our opposition. Yeah, I watched a ton of Fox News today to prepare for this show, and I'm not a fan, but you got to understand your enemy. That's what it's all about. Erica said they didn't see it. They're blind, just like Americans oppress others in different countries over diamonds and oil, and it does not affect us personally. So we don't care. We keep living and keep pushing. We don't even mention it. You right for the most part. No, you're right. I can't even say that. You're right. And for people to say that like violence ain't the answer and all that stuff, like America sort of made a living out of being, having the number one army. Like that's their claim to fame. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can go do that to other countries, like, and now you do it to your own country. Like, you just suppress everything. Like, if it's not you, and I don't even mean aligning with you, if it's not you, like, then you just suppress everything else. That's the country we live in. Like, that's the country we live in. Andrew said, I talked to my counselor today how I felt guilty over even seeing her because some people have real problems. Don't be, because you can't you can't solve all the world problems, right? You can only heal yourself to a point where you can pour from your cup that's not empty or broken. That's how you affect the change in your world around you. And the only reason, like, you can't pour from an empty cup is the phrase. So you got to do whatever you can do to be able to pour into the people that you can touch and the people that you can change. That's all you can do as an individual. So don't feel guilty about it. Like, use it. Make sure you get the most out of it so that you can change somebody else's life or world. And then hopefully that person touches two more people. Then it just keeps expanding, like paying it forward. Erica said, it is a selfishness that's very strong because if it were white men getting killed by police, the justice system would be changed immediately. Like, immediately. If it was normal black people killing normal white people, the justice system would be changed. You know what I'm saying? Or even if it was white cops killing white cops killing white people at just a higher rate, like everything else was the same, but for some reason the white cops are just killing tons of more white people. The law would be changed, like damn near instantaneously. It wouldn't be all this fighting and back and forth and semantics and what about this and this bill don't. I'm not voting for it because this bill don't go far enough and all this stuff. The shit would have just been passed for sure. Ebony J said, Dom, Erica, Uncle Mike, can we count on y'all support for the Black Experience video? We are just asking that you tell us about one Black experience you have, good or bad. You can record it, send it to us. It could be a voice recording. We can come tape it for you. And we need it by June 15th. Yeah, like whatever it is, good or bad. It can be pro-police, anti-police. It could be a run-in with the police. It could be a graduation story. It could be something your grandparents told you, you know what I'm saying, about their childhood or whatever. Just like what would prefer to be your Black experience, but like not everybody had it. So like, what is the Black experience for you? Uncle Mike said, problems only present themselves when they are ready to be solved. If you don't, they hang around until you do. It's true. We still have the same problems, and we keep asking the ones to solve them that is giving them to us. I agree. I agree with that 100%. And that's why, you know, like I said, for me, the change comes when people my age hopefully are engaged enough to get into politics and actually get in there and make the changes that needs to be made. Angel said, look how many white kids shoot up schools and they didn't murder them. Man, they went and got all of them. The dude that shot up the Batman movie, the movie theaters, the dude here in Cleveland or in Chardon that shot up the schools. They got all them people alive. You know what I'm saying? All them people, they got all of them alive. Right. So I think I want to say it was Erica's point. Angel, sorry. Angel, I'm talking to you, but I think to Erica's point, if those white kids had been killed, all of them, killed by the police, I think some kind of action would have been took. Ebony J said he wanted to say, your problems are real. He said, seriously, a good counselor would terminate when necessary. I agree. I'm not a counselor, but I agree that a good counselor would understand like when it's time, for sure. Dom said, what does that mean? Come to my studio. Dom, what do you mean? As far as like the video or whatever? I mean, we just come, like I said, you can just record it on your phone or whatever and send it to us. Or I can send a link for Anchor or podcast on Anchor. You can just use the browser right from your phone and just leave a voice recording. If you don't want to be on camera, it's fine. Erica said, it does not affect them personally. The only thing we can do is expose it. Build black dollars, vote, get registered so you can sit on a jury, become political leaders, judges, police, work within the community. I agree, man. Like I kind of want to pin that I want to pin that message, that comment, Erica, because that's exactly what it is. That's the whole thing I've been preaching to, not necessarily on the show. I've definitely said on the show, but like to others, is like until we actually start. Like people always want, and I'm partly to blame, I suppose. Like, cause people want celebrities to always come back and change or do something for the neighborhood. But like that's your neighborhood too. Like you can do something. Like you might not can do what they can do financially, but you can do something. Like you can go run for office or congressman or like whatever, mayor or whatever it is that you got in your city. Like that's your neighborhood too. Like don't wait for the celebrity. If you want something to change, you can make it happen too. But you gotta do something, man. Just tired of people sitting around doing nothing but still complaining. It's annoying. Black solidarity, Uncle Mike's motto. Ebony J said, enough is not enough until there's change. I agree. Dom said, I'm saying black experience, and who is the person that is recording? They can come to my studio to get footage of me telling whatever black experience. Uh, all right, if that's what you need, it's about your black experience. Just send us a video. We'll come out if you want us to come out. And I say next time I'm on that side of town, I'm definitely gonna stop by your studio, but you can just record it and then just send it over. Ebony J said the same thing I just said. Angel said action. I agree. Uncle Mike said you don't control the system, and you won't. Change for us as a group would not come through politics. 4% of the population control the rest of us. You need to know that. The president, huh? I'm no, the president don't control anything. Congress controls everything. So you're telling me if we get enough black people, enough sympathetic white people, I suppose, or white people with they got daughter-in-law and son-in-law that's black, like where it affects them now. Like you telling me that as more races mix and stuff, and you get people that's more sympathetic to all causes to our cause, that wouldn't inflict change? I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with. Like I think it can be done, but I think it won't be done until you get more black people and more people that are more white people that are sympathetic to like the actual cause. Erica said it's more about local elections. Yeah, I think I've said that countless times. Like, you don't want to vote for the president? That's fine, because I don't think he does anything, Barack Obama or otherwise, do anything for us. Like, but the stuff that do affect you on a day-to-day basis is your mayor. You know what I'm saying? Like your jury, as Erica said, your judges that's going to be judging your people. Are they going to be fair? Or are they going to be, old people that set in their ways too? And that goes for black or white. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that actually deal with you on a daily basis, that affect you on a daily basis, are the ones that you can affect change with without voting for the president. You don't think the president got no power? Cool. I agree with you. You don't feel like Congress got your best interest? Cool. But you can't tell me the stuff that actually affects you on the day-to-day, you have no power to change that, because you do. Said politics is a dirty game. I know it is. We all know it is. We know that the government and the game that it plays completely it ain't built for us. You know what I'm saying? Shit ain't built for us, man. I might say capitalism, corporations control. That's what it is. It's all money. It all comes down to money. So I agree with you. When we can figure out how to get out from under their money, that's when change could come too. But I just don't see that happening. So the only way I see, because you only can riot for so long, like you only can burn up so much shit. But like getting your family and your friends interested in some politics to the point where they want to go run and change stuff from the inside out, that's the only way I see it. I see it working. Erica said it's about sitting on that jury to make black decisions. I agree. Ebony J said it's supposed to be part of my birthday celebration. Just wanted to celebrate black people for sure. Angel said if the president has no power, why do we care about voting Trump out? He has influence. And he has some kind of a mind thing on traditional Republicans. Like, cause whenever in your life have y'all heard or seen Republicans act or accept some of the stuff that Trump is doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, Trump ain't a Christian. Like, a heavy Christian thing is something that Republicans typically run on. You know what I'm saying? not posing in front of a church and using a Bible as a prop. Like that's not a traditional Republican thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so although all he can do is make recommendations and he can use threats and he can use name calling on Twitter and all this stuff, that's what he do to people in Congress. And then it helps them change the narrative or to do his bidding, whether it's shoot down this bill or pass this bill or whatever. But he can't actually do anything law wise. He can do all the war shit, but as far as when it comes to like passing laws, changing policies, like the president can't do none of that. He can't do none of that. Uncle Mike said people are cogs in the machine. I agree. That's why you got to get these people out of there. The people that's been in there for 30, 40, 50 years doing the same position that's not helping, that's not garnering change, that's setting their ways that don't even show up. Man, if y'all ever watch C-SPAN, which I'm pretty sure most people don't, but y'all ever watch C-SPAN and just watch like when Congress go through a normal day, like it'd be empty in there. Like, you know what I'm saying? You'll see a few key people, but it'd be empty in there. Like people don't even show up to do their job, and those are the people that we keep electing or that run unopposed for so many straight years. It's ridiculous. Erica said the work just isn't black folks. It's us as people that has to make these changes. I agree, Erica. That's what I'm saying, and that's where me and Uncle Mike oppose is that it's going to take more than just black people. Like if every black person in America voted for Barack, that still wouldn't have been enough to get him elected. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to take other people. Like it's going to take a coalition, for lack of a better term, to get the change that's needed. So that's what I said. So, and when you start having, now I'm not saying that it's just going to take you to have a black son or daughter-in-law or whatever, but when it start actually affecting you or your neighbors or people that you care about, then that's when you'll actually get off your ass and make some changes happen, not taking knees in a lobby. Uncle Mike said, you have to understand capitalism or you have no strategy. Money makes the decision. I agree. I agree with that. I mean, that's why I said, like, this blackout day on July 7th, I don't know what 1 day of no black spending is going to do. Like, it's 1 day we're talking about, not a week or so. We're talking about 1 day. Like, I don't know how much it's going to, help or whatever, but I agree. I think money is the way. But I don't foresee that happening. So I feel like changing it from the inside out is the only actual way, and that's still going to happen for another couple of years. Get these old people start dying in Congress, get some new people that actually elected, get some new blood in there, then change might actually come. Let me see. Erica said we have to vote Trump's ideology out. He does not represent America. I agree. Uncle Mike said, no, the citizens are. You don't matter. This virus did not. You don't matter. This virus didn't teach you anything. No, it didn't. Because I worked every single day. You know what I'm saying? No, no. It didn't teach me nothing that I didn't already know. It didn't. And I got the COVID numbers here. For Ohio and for the rest of the country, like, no, it didn't teach nobody nothing. And if it did, we wouldn't be so thirsty to get out here and go to bars or restaurants or get our haircuts. I don't think it taught nobody nothing. Let me see. Bill said, I agree that white people need to speak out. Yeah. Like, you're the majority. Like it's simple. I don't think that's a difficult thing. Like you are the majority, and it's going to take more than like every black person can want one thing, but you're going to need white people to help you. You're going to need other people to help you, Hispanic people. Like you're going to need people to help you get to the point that you want to be. Like you can have all the civil rights stuff that you want, but unless you got white allies, like none of that stuff is getting passed. Like nothing is moving. Like I might say, just being elected doesn't mean shit. I agree. It doesn't guarantee anything, but what else do you propose though? Like I agree, it's good to have ideas about having a black leader and getting, having your own money so you don't have to use white people money and re-educate and having a plan to re-educate. But like, how do you go about doing it though? Being effective is the thing that's most important, but like you can't be effective from the outside, clearly. Because if that was the case, then Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would have got it done. Like clearly you can't do it from the outside. Andrew said corporations will plan and run a sale, then everyone will spend. It won't have an effect. That's what I'm saying. Like for one day, like you telling me they won't have a Super Saturday sale at I don't know, all these retailers that people are going to go through, or Black Friday come out and they're going to have, they're going to extend it an extra day or something to make that money back, especially all the money they already lost this year. Man, that one day ain't gonna stop nothing. Erica said, yes, white people will make a whole documentary on cats after tracking down a murderer on Facebook, but refuse to see racial injustice. I agree. Like simple stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff that's on video. And I'm not talking about hearsay. I'm not talking about like, well, I wasn't there, so I can't really say. Like stuff that's on video multiple, hundreds of times. Like you can watch it. Like that video never changes because it's a fact. And they refuse to see it, or it has to come with a stipulation, or all right, I understand that, I see that, but if they wouldn't do this to themselves, then it wouldn't happen. And like that's just an argument that has nothing to do with anything. Uncle Mike said, how many were sacrificed? Countless. Angel said, give me 1,200 more. She just wants the money. I understand that. Erica said, we have to call them out on it. I agree. I mean, they do. Look at how many in just the past couple of weeks. Look how many CEOs have stepped down. Look how many police officers have stepped down or quit or whatever because of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that this is we finally got them. Like, but you got to have movement, man. You got to have some kind of movement. And as long as you having that, then all you can do is keep adding to the fire. Like, keep it moving. Do the stuff that's necessary. Talk to the people that's necessary. I don't know, burn a building if that's like whatever is going to keep the narrative so that people keep paying attention, so that this ain't just squashed and suppressed and then it's just gone. Like whatever it is that you got to do to keep it going, like we got to do it. Now I don't have the answer. I really don't about none of this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely willing to have a discussion for sure for anybody that do got the answers. Angel said, sending love and good vibes to you all is depressing. Man, it's super depressing. It's not only that it's depressing, but it's repetitive. Like this is the same thing we've been going through forever. Like forever. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing, man, over and over forever. Same thing. Ebony J said, we have to get to their tables. Ebony J, even though Jay-Z said that first, I'm not going to rain on your parade. But yeah, I agree. You can't begin to change their mind if you're not inside to have a conversation. You ever had a conversation with somebody out in the street? Like, it's a quick conversation. Like, hey, how you doing? Everything good? The family cool? And you're out of there. Like when you come into somebody's house, when you actually have a seat next to them, or inside of a restaurant or coffee shop, and you're actually able to sit down and have a conversation, that's a whole different conversation than talking on the outside. So in order to get there, we have to get inside and actually get to a peer level when we can actually talk to these people and garner some kind of an influence. Otherwise, personally, this is how I feel. Nothing will be done currently. And personally, our next hope won't come for the next 5 or 10 years when younger people that's been more exposed to diversities, whether it's mixing of races, whether it's the transgender, gay acceptance, all that stuff. Like it's just a whole different world. And once those people are in a position to start making these changes and decisions, that's when I think the world will change. But until then, I'll be sitting here Wednesdays doing this show. So I'm way over my time. We had a good discussion, I think. I think it was great. I'm not even joking. I want to thank everybody for joining us, everybody for coming out and commenting. And I don't know, man. Like I said, countless times on here, like I don't have the answers. I'm definitely willing to have the conversation with anybody about whatever you think progress is and how to make it. Um, uh, and hopefully we can find some common ground and put some steps into action and come out better for it on the other end. Um, I don't know. Ebony J said, I don't listen to Jay-Z. I made it up from you asking, why do they keep getting invited to our cookouts? No, we got to get invited to their cookouts. Stop inviting them to ours. We got to go to we got to mess with their potato salad. All right, man, I'm out of here. I want to thank y'all for joining me. Like I said, as always, be sure if you want to share a story, you want to share your Black experience, be sure, like I said, just record it on your phone, set your phone up somewhere, record it, send it to us, the Facebook or the Instagram, email. If you want to do the audio, just reach out, let me know. I'll send you the link for the anchor, add you to the podcast, and we can definitely get that done. Andrew said, thanks for your efforts to make things better. Vote Biden 2020, y'all. You're welcome, Angel. I like everything starts with a conversation, I think. Education, like Uncle Mike said, everybody need to learn and know. And I don't know everything, but like I said, I'm always willing to find out more information. TV said, I think we have to learn their points of view also. We are assuming how they live also. And every day said, I agree. You're not wrong. It does have to be a mutual free flow of information for perspective, if for nothing else. They have to be open to our perspective and we have to be open to theirs. And that's how you find common ground. And that's how you engulf change, in my opinion. So I don't know. All right. So I'm getting out of here. It's crazy hot and the lights don't make it no better. So y'all be safe out there. Be sure to send in those videos or audio if you need any help with that. Just reach out. We can definitely help you out with that. Other than that, man, I will talk to y'all Sunday. I'll make sure I keep this hat clean and let people know where I stand. And if anybody wants to challenge me for it, come and get it. Salute to the city as always. Y'all be safe out there. Talk to y'all Sunday.